Now, let's talk about the ACT Legislative Assembly's plans to pass laws tomorrow allowing it to take over the Catholic-owned Calvary private hospital. This move by the state government has caused serious backlash, with senior doctors, nurses, the Catholic Archdiocese, Canberra Liberals and the Australian Christian Lobby all speaking out as one against the move. There is real fear that this is a new attempt in a new way to stamp out religious freedom in the ACT. Joining me now is John Steenhoff, the Managing Director of the Human Rights Law Alliance. John, thanks for joining me tonight. What's the reasoning that the ACT government is using for this takeover?
The ACT government has largely said this is business as usual, there's nothing to see here. But there are several concerning and high-handed aspects to the way they're going about this that would suggest this is just one in a long line of ways that this ACT government has shown hostility to people of faith and has tried to encroach on religious freedom.
So tell us about what there really is to see here and what that long line of problematic behaviour is.
So the ACT government has proceeded with great haste and speed and an authoritarian approach to this compulsory acquisition. The ACT has laws that already allow for governments to make compulsory acquisitions, and usually this is a process that is done over a long period of time with a lot of consultation and with a lot of cooperation with those who are the subject of that acquisition. None of that has happened here. I'm told that the government quit its negotiations with the Catholics at the end of 2022 without any explanation, and then went into a secret process of putting together this compulsory acquisition package, unveiled it a day before it actually went into Parliament, and told Calvary Hospital that they were to be acquired with a very, very short time frame. I think 6 weeks from go to woe, with the ACT government walking through the door and taking their place behind the chairs on the 3rd of July. It's very, very unusual and concerning.
Yeah, it does sound like a pretty fast and arbitrary process, but what are the red flags or what are the risks to freedom of religion in the ACT that are raised by this compulsory acquisition?
Well, if the ACT government can do this to one church-operated institution like Calvary Hospital, there's no reason why they can't do this with other religious organisations, with schools, with other hospitals, with aged care. It's very clear that the government has had some tension with Calvary over its conscientious position on life issues. The fact that the hospital is not a place where abortions would take place, is not a place where euthanasia would take place if it remained under Catholic control. And that is a good thing. It's one of the things that adds to the pluralism that makes Australia a strong, a good nation and a good place to live. And to attack that is to put all of our religious institutions at risk.
What's interesting about that is that there's nothing to stop the ACT government from providing for abortion or euthanasia, as much as I'm not a big fan of either, in public hospitals. Why do they have to take away a place where people who do support those beliefs can go and know that they'll be treated for whatever medical concern they've got in a way that aligns with their own beliefs and values?
Well, this is exactly something that we're hearing from the religious community. There's a whole cross-section of people who've expressed their concerns about ACT's compulsory acquisition, but I've heard from countless people of faith who deliberately go to Calvary Hospital because of their Christian ethos, their respect for life. They've gone there for care for their elderly, to have their children when there's a medical issue. They like that Christian ethos and they've selected for it, and it is good for it to be in our public system.
What does it mean for people who work at the hospital?
Well, this is going to cause a huge amount of uncertainty for employees at Calvary Hospital. It is very disrespectful and disruptive for them to all of a sudden know that as of 3rd of July, they're going to have a new employer. And a big concern about that is that we already have the Canberra Hospital that is operated by the ACT government, which has been the subject of reports that it's got a terrible toxic culture. And there are many people working at Calvary Hospital who've selected it for the exact reason that it is not Canberra Hospital. And they're not going to be too pleased at having their employer changed under their feet so swiftly and without any consultation at all.
Well, it doesn't seem to make an awful lot of sense to me, other than in a partisan sense, that the Prime Minister has decided to back this in, given it just sits so uncomfortably with matters of conscience. John Steenhoff, thank you very much for the work you're doing to help people understand and value this fundamental right.